What would you do if you heard your own wife, the mother of your child, practicing a lie on the nanny cam? And not just any lie, but the alibi she was going to use to cover up her affair. I sat there in my home office in our quiet Dallas suburb, the glow of the monitor washing over my face at 2 in the morning, listening to the audio feed from our daughter's room. She thought it was just a baby monitor. She had no idea it recorded audio. She was whispering, testing out phrases. I was with Sarah. We had dinner at the French room. Then we went for drinks at the Jewel. My phone died. That's why I didn't answer. Each word was a perfectly polished stone of deceit. And she was rehearsing, making sure they sounded natural. My world didn't just crack. It atomized in that instant. I listened to her build the fiction that would shatter our reality, and I knew right then this wouldn't end with a simple divorce. This would end with her complete and utter ruin. If you genuinely enjoy our stories, please subscribe to the channel. Tell us where you're from. Okay. And what time it is right now. It's always fascinating to know how far our story flows. For 10 years, Amelia was my everything. We built a life together, a home, a family. I thought we were a team. But that night, listening to her practice her lies, I saw the real Amelia for the first time. She wasn't my partner. She was a performer, and I was her unwitting audience. The humiliation burned hotter than any anger I'd ever felt. It was a physical sickness that started in my gut and crawled up my throat. Every "I love you" she'd ever said now felt like a line from a script. Every shared memory was tainted. A scene in a play where I was the only one who did, and know my part was that of the fool. The signs had been there, of course. I just refused to see them. The late nights with the girls that happened more and more often. The way she guarded her phone like it was the key to a national secret, tilting the screen away if I even glanced in its direction. She'd started dressing differently, more expensive clothes, lingerie that I certainly never saw. When I asked, she'd just laugh it off. A girl's got to feel good about herself, right? She'd say, her smile never quite reaching her eyes. She became colder, more distant. Our conversations turned into interrogations, with her questioning my every move, a classic tactic of a cheater projecting their own guilt. She'd pick fights over nothing, creating drama to justify her distance, to make me feel like I was the problem. The slow discovery was agony. A credit card statement I found shoved in her car's glove box, showing a charge for 2 at a fancy Italian place, Uchi, on a night she was supposedly at a yoga retreat. Then, a receipt for a room at the Hotel Zaza in uptown Dallas. I called the hotel, my heart hammering against my ribs, and pretended I was her assistant confirming a booking. They confirmed it, all right, a 2-night stay. For Mrs. and Mr. Thorne. My last name isn't Thorne. She and her lover, this faceless man, felt untouchable. They were brazen, meeting in our city, using her credit card, confident in my ignorance, my trust. The arrogance was staggering. One night she came home late, smelling of expensive cologne that wasn't mine and cheap lies. I confronted her. I kept my voice level, but inside I was screaming. I asked her where she'd been. She gave me the well-rehearsed alibi, the one I'd heard her practicing. I was with Sarah, honey. I told you. The performance was flawless, but I knew. I pushed a little, asked a detail about the restaurant. Her eyes went cold. Why are you interrogating me? Don't you trust me? The manipulation was masterful. She twisted it, turning my valid suspicion into a flaw in my character. That was the night I broke. After she went to sleep, I went into the garage and just sat in my car, the silence of our suburban street deafening. The tears finally came, hot and silent. I wasn't just crying for the betrayal, but for the man I used to be, the happy, trusting husband she had systematically destroyed. But as the sun began to rise, something inside me shifted. The grief hardened into a cold, diamond-sharp resolve. I wiped my tears, went inside, and started to plan. She wanted a performance. I'd give her the show of a lifetime. The nanny cam audio was my first piece of evidence. I downloaded the file and saved it to a dozen different hard drives. I became a digital ghost, installing keylogger software on her laptop while she was in the shower. I recovered deleted texts and emails. His name was Mark Thorne, a real estate developer, married with 2 kids. Smug, wealthy, and careless. Their messages were vile, mocking me, calling me the predictable bore. They had been planning a future together, discussing how Amelia would take me for everything in the divorce. My revenge would not be a single act of anger. It would be a slow, methodical dismantling of her entire world. I hired the most ruthless divorce attorney in Dallas, a shark named Mr. Harrison. I showed him everything. The audio file of her rehearsing, the hotel receipts, the texts where she and Mark planned to hide assets. Harrison's eyes lit up. We set the traps. Following his advice, I started moving my own assets into a protected trust, legally and quietly. Opened a new bank account. I put a GPS tracker on her car. It led me right to a discreet parking garage off McKinney Avenue, where she met him every Tuesday and Thursday afternoon. I hired a private investigator who documented everything with crystal clear photos and videos. Them kissing. Them walking into the hotel. Everything. I learned that Mark's wife, Jennifer, was on the board of a major children's charity, the same one Amelia desperately wanted to join to boost her social standing. The annual charity gala was in 3 weeks. It was the biggest social event of the year in their circle. It was perfect. The public exposure needed to be spectacular. Harrison filed for divorce on my behalf, but we requested the filing be sealed for 2 weeks. Amelia was served the papers on a Friday morning. She laughed. "You can't be serious," she sneered, holding the papers. "You have nothing. I'll take you for everything. You and your daughter will be lucky to keep the dog." She had no idea the storm that was coming. The night of the gala arrived. Amelia went, of course, draped in a new designer gown. She was texting Mark under the table, feeling untouchable. I had arranged for a special package to be delivered to Jennifer Thorne at her table. It contained a single USB drive and a note, "You deserve to know the truth. Play this." I also sent a copy to the heads of the charity board. Inside that ballroom at the Fairmont Dallas, surrounded by the city's elite, Jennifer Thorne plugged the drive into a laptop. The room was filled with the sound of Amelia's voice, practicing her alibi. Then came the photos, the videos. The affair was laid bare for everyone to see. The humiliation was absolute. Screaming erupted. Amelia's face went white. Mark tried to run, but his wife's fury stopped him. The socialites who once fawned over Amelia now stared at her with disgust. She was a pariah in an instant. The aftermath was brutal and swift. Mark's wife filed for divorce, using my evidence to destroy him financially and socially. The charity board blacklisted Amelia permanently. Her friends abandoned her. In court, with the mountain of evidence against her infidelity, conspiracy to commit fraud, she stood no chance. The judge awarded me full custody of our daughter and the majority of our assets, citing Amelia's moral turpitude clause in our prenup, the one she thought was just a formality. She left the Tarrant County Courthouse with nothing but her clothes and the crushing weight of her public disgrace. I see her sometimes, a ghost in a city that once adored her, working as a waitress in some diner off the highway. The expensive clothes are gone, replaced by a cheap uniform. The arrogant spark in her eyes is gone, replaced by a hollow, haunted emptiness. I didn't win. There are no winners in a war like this. I simply survived. I have my daughter, and we are building a new life. A quiet one. But every night, when I tuck my little girl into bed, I check the audio on the monitor, and for a split second, I hear the echo of a whisper in an empty room. The house is quiet now, and the only lies left are the ones she told herself. The end.